Okay, so I did it again. Instead of just doing 4 books, I could do 1 book a week. Yeah, I did 6, but they're really good. Keep reading. Hi, Terry Gillespie here, and welcome to Terry's Top Picks for February. And it was really hard. I was really promising myself that I'd only do like maybe 4 or 5, but I couldn't help it. I did 6. So, but they're so good. They're so good. So I'm going to start with my lead book. And the reason why I call it my lead book is because um, this is going to be, ooh, it got dark when I did that. Ooh. Is because Stephanie Lansom is going to be my A2A interview in March. So I have to let you know about the book a little bit. The name of the book is Codename Edelweiss. And this is my first Stephanie Lansom book, will not be my last. So let me give you a little info on Stephanie. Stephanie writes historical fiction for women about women. She's traveled the world in real life and traveled through time in her research and imagination. As she's learned about women of the past, she's come to realize that these long ago women were very much like us. They loved, dreamed, and made mistakes. They struggled, failed, and triumphed. She writes to honor their lives and to bring today's women hope and encouragement. Stephanie makes her home in Minnesota with her husband, 2 cats, and a dog, and frequent visits from her 4 adult children. Along with reading, writing, and research, she dreams about her next travel adventure, whether it be in person or on the page. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so I love this cover. I mean, this is beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. Now let it cover me up. Okay, so as I said, this is historical fiction. So let's do a little teaser. Adolf Hitler is still a distant rumble on the horizon when a Jewish spy master and his courageous spies uncover a storm of Nazi terror in their own backyard. In the summer of 1933, Hitler is the new powerful anti-Semitic chancellor of Germany. But in Los Angeles, no-nonsense secretary Liesl Weiss has concerns closer to home. The Great Depression is tightening its grip, and Liesl is the sole supporter of 2 children and a very opinionated mother. She's very opinionated, and a troubled brother. Jewish lawyer Leon Lewis has watched Hitler's rise to power and increasing anti-Semitism in America with growing alarm. He believes Nazi agents are working to seize control of Hollywood, the world's greatest propaganda machine. The trouble is, authorities scoff at his dire warnings. So I'm not going to read any more of this because I'm afraid it's going to give away too much. But what I will do is I am going to read the first line of chapter 1. And I love the font. It's got that 30s look. Can you see that? It's kind of got that 30s look. A girl like you ought to be in pictures. Gary Pearl turned away from his bird's eye view of the MGM studio lot and appraised me from my Peter Pan collar to the toes of my sensible Oxfords. Apparently, what she was wearing didn't protect her from the oogling. Okay, so this actually releases, let's see, in March. I think it's March 7th. It will release. So one of the wonderful things that you can do for authors is to pre-order their books. They really do appreciate it, and it really does help them in those marketing matrices. Am I making you seasick with this? Okay, I'm just trying to find a good spot. Okay, this is going to come in hardback, paperback, ebook, and audiobook, and audio CD. So I'm really excited. I read it, already reviewed it, and really looking forward to getting to know Stephanie in March's A to A interview. Okay, next book is, this is a favorite author of mine, Rosanna White, M. White, and this is Yesterday's Tides. Now, if you don't know Rosanna, goodness, I can highly recommend any of her books, pretty much any of her books. Rosanna White is a best-selling Christie Award-winning author who has long claimed that words are the air she breathes. When not writing fiction, she's homeschooling her 2 kids, editing, designing book covers, and pretending her house will clean itself. Rosanna, I got news for you. It doesn't happen. You can learn more about her and her stories at her website. And by the way, down below in the description section, my husband has formatted this so that there are chapters. So if you want to watch a particular book review, pre-review, again, a couple of times or maybe more, then you can just click on that chapter. And then down below in the description section, I'll have the author and the author's name, their website, and where you can purchase their book, this latest book. Now, this book actually came out in January, and I ran out of room. I just couldn't slip 7 books into my top picks for January. So I just moved it over to February. So this book is historical fiction, and it's during World War II. Now, it doesn't say this on the back cover, but this is a time slip book, which I love time slip. So we are going to go back and forth between World War I and World War II, and we're going to be dealing with families, 2 families that have secrets. And we always know that secrets can cause a lot of conflict and trouble until they're discovered. So during World War II, when Special Agent Sterling Bertrand is washed ashore at Evie Farrow's Inn, her life is turned upside down. As Evie and Sterling work together to track down a German agent, they unravel mysteries that go back to World War I. The ripples from the past are still rocking their lives, and it seems yesterday's tides may sweep them. Yesterday's tides may sweep them into danger today. Historical fiction. Okay. And the first line of the book, first chapter, and the heading says today, but it's actually May 11th, 1942. And this is Ocracoke Island. I hope I pronounced that right, North Carolina. The first light of sunrise turned the water of the Pamlico Sound to gold, the clouds to rose, and the dark to morning, promising Evie Farrell that today would be just like yesterday. So it sounds boring, doesn't it? Evie, you're not going to be bored. Believe me, things get really great. Yeah, this one I stayed up and read. Yeah, I read it in one day. So I stayed up all night and read it. So don't recommend that if you've got a lot of stuff to do the next day, but it was worth it. Ooh, the next book is The Weight of Air by Kimberly Duffy. And this is a new author to me as well. And it's a different kind of genre. It is historical fiction. However, sorry, Kimberly, I don't want to. Okay. It is historical fiction, and it's also a subgenre of circus genre. I've never read Kimberly Duffy, and I've never read books that focus on circus life. So here we go. So Kimberly Duffy is a Long Island native, currently living in Southwest Ohio. That must have been hard. When she's not homeschooling her 4 kids, she writes historical fiction that takes her readers back in time and across oceans. She loves trips that require a passport, recipe books, and practicing kissing scenes with her husband of 23 years. It shows in the book, believe me. He doesn't mind. Learn more about Kimberly at her website, and that is down below in the description section. So here are the publisher notes. In 1911, Europe's strongest woman is Mabel McGinnis. Now, Mabel loses everything she's ever known and sets off for America in hopes of finding the mother she's just discovered is alive. When circus aerialist Isabella Moreau's daughter suddenly appears, she is forced to face the truth of where and in what she derives her worth. It's really, it's so different that the characters are just going to like get inside you and you think about them. I'm still thinking about it, and I read this a week ago. So highly recommend. This book actually released on the 7th, so last week. So order it. And you can order it in hardcover, paperback, ebook, and audiobook. And I don't know if I mentioned, this book and this book are both Bethany House, and codename Edelweiss is Tyndale. So I just think that's important because each publisher, I notice, they have their own voice. They have their own tone that I can tell the difference in the way that the book reads and then the stories that are chosen. So, and I love these publishers, as well as there are a couple others that I still haven't gotten in touch with. So watch out, Kriegel. Okay, so the first line of the book is actually a prologue, which apparently prologues are okay. September 1891, outside Toulouse, France. I don't speak French. You are sure you don't want me to go with you to the station? Graham asked. It's setting us up. Mm, I'm sorry, I'm starting to read it again. That's a sign of a good book, right? Okay, so next book is Yippee! This is one of my favorite authors for suspense and mystery and romance, Elizabeth Goddard. She has a lot of books that are in cold regions, and this book, Cold Light of Day, Missing in Alaska, is the first of her new series. What's it called? Missing in Alaska. And this one actually released last week, and I'm in the middle of reading it. And Elizabeth, I've been reading her for a number of years, and I really love her books. They're just, uh, man, you get you into the story like that, and you're moving like this. So it's a real page. Hers are always page turners. So Elizabeth Goddard is a USA Today best-selling and award-winning author of more than 50 novels, including the Rocky Mountain Courage and Uncommon Justice series. Her books have sold over 1 million copies. She is a Carol Award winner and a Daphne du Maurier Award finalist. When she's not writing, she loves spending time with her family, traveling to find inspiration for her next book, and serving with her husband in ministry. So her information will be down below in the description section. So here is the publisher's notes. Police Chief Autumn Long is fighting to keep her job when an unexpected wave of violent crime sweep through their small Alaskan town. Does Grier Brenner, a relatively newcomer to town, actually have her back, or is she all alone as the body count rises? See what I mean? Okay, first line. Prologue. Ravel. Okay. Southeast Alaska in May. I never should have come. Okay, that's it. That's the first line. Yeah, that drew me in. Wouldn't it draw you in? I'm going to read the next line. What was he even doing here? Had he been thinking? I'm an idiot. Okay. Yes? Okay, so this comes in hardcover, softcover, ebook, and audiobook. Yeah. Jill Eileen Smith. Now, some of you who've been following my author interviews may remember that I actually interviewed Jill, it was a year ago this March. So Jill and I have known each other for a long time. So I love what she writes, and I trust her biblical fiction. As someone who has lived, worked, and worshiped in the Jewish community, I'm all about accuracy when it comes to the Jewish culture as it applies to the biblical culture. So our biblical context. So I love Jill, and Jill is just so famous for her meticulous research. So here is Jill's bio. Jill Eileen Smith is the best-selling and award-winning author of the biblical fiction series, The Wives of David, The Wives of the Patriarchs, and Daughters of the Promised Land, as well as The Heart of the King, Star of Persia, Esther's Story, Miriam's Story, and The Prince and the Prodigal. She is also the author of nonfiction books, When Life Doesn't Match Your Dreams, and She Walked Before Us. And more information about Jill is down below in the description section. Now, this book actually released yesterday, so you can order it today. which I highly recommend. So this is, of course, biblical fiction, Daughter of Eden, Eve's story. So this is the publisher's note. Eve has spent all of her days in the garden, exploring with Adam and walking with their creator until the day everything changes. Suddenly, she faces darkness she has never before experienced. How will she find the courage to face the unknown future and trust in the promises God has given? Now, some people have trouble with biblical fiction because they feel like you're adding to the Bible. But really, what biblical fiction does, especially well-researched biblical fiction, and I have a handful, about a half dozen authors that I really trust for that accuracy. And what it does is it takes that biblical narrative and breathes life into it and gives legs to it. And it just helps you identify more with the characters. Now that we have this new TV live stream called The Chosen, we're beginning to see what that's like, where you have real people. Peter was a real person. And his disciples they didn't know who he was until they knew. And so it being able to get into a little bit of their backstory and maybe how they were thinking, and then it makes it easier for us to see they're not icons and statues, they're people. And I think that's one of the wonderful things about biblical fiction. So let's see. Did I say hardcover, paperback, ebook, and audiobook? And is that a gorgeous cover? Yeah, that's how I think of the Garden of Eden. All right, so first line. The first time he opened his eyes, light, brilliant, and pure, moved in colored ribbons about him. Yeah, imagine, what did Adam see? What did he see when he first opened his eyes and took his first breath? What did he hear? Because there were creatures. So just exciting. That, to me, that's just, I can't wait to dive into this one. Okay, the next one is The Maid of Ballymacool, or Ballymacool, and this is by Jennifer Diebel, or Diebel, depending on if you're German. And this is a new author to me, and the title just really drew me in. So I'm looking forward to reading this book. The author bio is Jennifer is the author of Dance and Donegal. I've heard of that book. Did I read that book? No, I would have remembered. And The Lady of Galway Manor, a Parable Group bestseller. Her work has appeared on Encourage, on The Better Mom, in Missions, Mosaic Magazine, and other publications. With firsthand immersive experience abroad, Jennifer writes stories that help redefine home through the lens of culture, history, and family. And that's just what we were talking about with Jill's book, that's what biblical fiction does as well. So very well said. I like that. After nearly a decade of living in Ireland and Austria, she now lives in Arizona with her husband and their 3 children. And you can find out more information down in the description section. So this is historical romance. Now this will actually release next week, but you can order in advance. And it comes in paperback, ebook, and hardcover. It doesn't say anything about audiobook. However, that can come a little later. So keep an eye out for that if you're an audiobook listener. Okay, here is the publisher note by Revell. The only home Brianna Kelly has ever known is Ballymacool boarding school. But when the son of local gentry arrives at the school to deal with his unruly niece, an unexpected discovery uncovers the truth about her past and the key to her future. All right. So let's read the first sentence. Ooh, I like when they have little embellishments on the chapters. Just makes it nice. County Donegal, Ireland, September 1935. The slap hit its mark, leaving a burning outline Brianna was certain showed perfectly on her cheek. Okay, that set the mood. Especially after we read that she was in a boarding school. Okay, that really set the mood. So I am looking forward to reading this one as well. Last but definitely not least is Sarah Sundin. And if you don't know Sarah Sundin, her books are incredible, just incredible. And the name of this book is The Sound of Light. Now, is this a series? Doesn't appear to be. Appears to be a standalone. Now, if you don't know Sarah, here's a little bit about her. She is a best-selling author of When Twilight Breaks, Until Leaves Fall in Paris. So good. And the popular World War II series Sunrise at Normandy, among others. She's a Christie Award finalist and a Carol Award winner, and her novels have received starred reviews for Booklist, Library Journal, and Publishers Weekly, and have appeared in Booklist's 101 best romantic novels of the last 10 years. And Sarah lives in California. I lived in California. In fact, I was born in California. So this released last week, so you can order it today and order it in hardback, paperback, ebook, and audiobook. And this one is from Revell. And the information on Sarah and where all to purchase this book will be down below in the description section. So let's read the first line. Copenhagen, Denmark, Tuesday, April 9th, 1940. The sun rose on the first day of another year in the wasted life of Baron Heinrich Alfred. Where's my German? Well, Denmark's a little different. Baron Heinrich Alfred. Sorry, Sarah. I did try. I really did try. Okay, so that tells me a lot. Does that tell you a lot? The sun rose on the first day of another year in his wasted life. Okay, so those are my six top picks for February. And I have to believe that there are at least 3 or 4 in here, if not all, that you would be interested in. If not in February, then just read them a little bit later, but definitely read them. And don't forget that Stephanie, I will be interviewing her for my March A2A, and no doubt, Tyndale will have a giveaway for entries into the giveaway for my A2A series. So that's it for this month's episode of my top picks. And I'll look forward to seeing you next month for my March top picks. In the meantime, God bless and keep reading. By the way, at the end of this video will be a link to Jill Eileen Smith's interview with me last year in March. So be sure and click that and check that out so you can get to know her even more. Okay, thanks again. God bless and keep reading.